Lots of entrepreneurs become entrepreneurs because of some kind of disruption in their life. My entrepreneurial journey would start when I was fired from the family business, but it would be a colossal disruption in my life that would eventually lead to the creation of Live Truly Free. Hey guys, I'm George Black, and I guide entrepreneurs to focus their passions, build great companies, and live truly free. So, where does Live Truly Free come from? How did it get started? It actually sources from my college days, but I just didn't call it Live Truly Free at the time. So when I first got to college, there was this position I had discovered, and I really wanted it. But you could only apply for it at the end of your second year. And so I spent the next year and a half focusing all my energy and efforts to get that position. I had great grades, good leadership positions, all that sort of thing. The day finally comes. And I had been told I was a top candidate. I fully expected to get it. And I didn't. I was crushed. I literally just kind of went over the cliff into despair. I didn't understand. I had put everything I had on the line for this position. And I had nothing. I had no backup plan. I was desperate for answers. And I was asking why. As I write in my book, The Next Level Entrepreneur, the question why really leads nowhere. It doesn't even lead you to more understanding. A much better question is, what path now? Well, my search led me to a sage, a wise man, and he introduced me to living truly free, although we didn't call it that. It was a new path for me, and huge creativity flowed from it. And I discovered my passions for risk, adventure, faith, travel, having cross-cultural experiences, and not following the corporate predictable path. So one path I went down was working with the family business, but I discovered that it really wasn't my passion. But on the side, I was helping lead a small construction company. And in my role of leadership there, I was finding my passion and really loved it. Well, one day at the family business, there was this meeting and it became tense and very emotional very quickly. And I was told to leave. Like, permanently. Well, okay, this was kind of tricky because it's family, right? And I'm immediately thinking, how do we do Thanksgiving and Christmas? And that actually became the thing I wanted to salvage and save. But this disruption didn't last that long because the construction company wanted more of my leadership. And over time, as opportunities came, I figured out how to help lead multiple companies at the same time, not miss out on family life, pursue interests and hobbies, and make a good living. Around that same time, I was hit by what I would call a colossal disruption. An analogy would be like a tornado sweeps through your neighborhood, wipes everything out. Your house is gone, the foundation's gone, the streets are gone. When you look at the neighborhood, there is nothing left. Now, there are lots of colossal disruptions people can experience, including actual tornadoes. But for me, it was a divorce I did not want. It wasn't ever an option for me, and I was never given a choice. But here's what made it even worse, was that I was all in to doing whatever it took to have a great marriage. And like being hit by a tornado, I was completely disoriented. I lost everything that had been stable to me. Everything was disrupted. My family, my home, my life, friendships, work, faith, everything. I don't recall ever experiencing anything so painful. I was battling discouragement and despair and doing everything I could just to keep my wits. I discovered there are two basic responses to this kind of colossal disruption. You can despair or you can create. Let's go back to the tornado example where now everything's gone and you can despair or you can freely create because now nothing's there. You can create whatever you want. So I shifted from battling despair to battling to create with the help of divine providence. And creativity began to emerge from the chaos. And I discovered I'm a writer. I had no idea. And I wrote a book, The Next Level Entrepreneur, right here, that packs a $20,000 strategic process into a $20 book. It was a season of glorious divine inspiration. And meanwhile, like I'm in the eye of a storm, there's still this colossal disruption raging all around me. But I know this peace, this quietness, this calm, this joy almost. It was remarkable. And so I wrote a book I had no idea was inside of me. And here's what's truly amazing, is that this book is foundational to Live Truly Free and was foundational in the creation of Live Truly Free. This colossal disruption did even more. It triggered a whole series of events. And I'll just explain those quickly. I ended up relocating and ended up with a new neighbor. And my new neighbor was working on his PhD in strategic management. He loved my book. And he insisted on using it to teach all of his students. So he did. Based on 100+ college seniors' feedback, I took the book, rewrote it, expanded it 30%, and put it into a paperback, and Stephen Takash, wrote the foreword. Well, unbeknownst to me, Stephen had shared an early version of the book with his cousin Garrett. Garrett used the book and the Next Level Navigator process in the book to launch an obstacle fitness gym he called Ninja Park. Well, a few years later, he uses his Next Level Navigator to become the #1 entrepreneur in the country through the Sam's Club Chamber of Commerce, and he won $25,000, all with his Navigator. Well, I meet Garrett, and this leads to a friendship and a relationship. So here's what's amazing with this whole series of events, that a few years later, by 2019, Garrett and I are working together part-time to launch Live Truly Free. Well, at the same time, I'm helping lead a software as a service company. And they're getting close to launch. The partners want a pricing model and projections, and I'm working all of that with them. We have a series of meetings, and everything kind of goes off the rails. It's not what they wanted to hear, and they decide to go one way, and on July 3rd, I'm out. Well, Garrett and I realized, wait a minute, tomorrow is July 4th. It's Independence Day. What better day to launch Live Truly Free, a lifestyle for entrepreneurs? And so, as it says in the last sentence of the Declaration of Independence, with the help of divine providence, we launch Live Truly Free on July 4th, 2019. And guys, this was way ahead of schedule, more than we had planned at all. But what are you going to do? That's the life of an entrepreneur, right? And so we lived happily ever after and had a wonderful impact on millions of entrepreneurs, and we've made plenty of money, and everything's wonderful, right? No. If you recall, everything shut down right there at the beginning of 2020, and just as we were really ready to go whole hog with this thing, brakes are slammed on. And we basically then went back to beta, and with small groups of entrepreneurs, we did a lot of beta type services, and everything was working great. So by the end of 21, Garrett and I recommitted and said, let's go for this 100% of our creativity into Live Truly Free for 2022. And that's where we are. We don't know the rest of this story. We don't know how it's going to turn out, but it's adventure, it's risk, it's faith, it's all that stuff. And so we'd invite you to check out livetrulyfree.com, find out all the stuff that's going on with us, sign up for our newsletter. We'll keep you informed. And until the next video, may you live truly free.